Hello everybody and welcome back to the 5-Star Potential Podcast Social. Hope you guys are keeping well and safe, and we are back again today with a brand new podcast. Hopefully it's going to be another cracker. My name is Dave, and alongside me today, as you can see, we've got Joe, Friday Night FM, with his GoPro. How's it going, man?
Yeah, all good, man. You alright?
Yeah, good, man. You had a good day?
It started off a bit ropey, but yeah, I've had a good day.
Are you refreshed after... Not well, I bet you still had a late finish yesterday, didn't you?
Mate, honestly, didn't sleep much last night. Went upstairs this morning. My little boy was asleep on the floor, so I put him in bed. I laid down next to him just to give him a cuddle, and I fell asleep. So I was 2 hours late for work.
Oh, man. My word. Dupe, how are you, man?
I'm living the dream, mate. I'm good. I went to bed, about 10:30 last night. Fell asleep. My wife was up with the child all night. And then about 5 o'clock this morning, I woke up and I went, cool, I can't sleep. She's like, you've literally been asleep all night. I've been awake with the child. And I said, oh, I'll take him if you want. She went, oh, that'd be really nice. And then fell asleep till 7:15. So I'm in the doghouse. So keep me as long as you want tonight. I'm sleeping up here.
And we're delighted to be joined alongside footballer Mr. Rhys Bennett. Rhys, how's it going, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good, man. All good, thank you. Thanks for joining us today. I'm sure we're going to have loads of stories to talk about because you've been busy playing FM, playing FIFA, and obviously with your, let's say, real-life career as well. Where should we start, man?
I can't believe that introduction, Dave.
I mean...
Surely it should have been goal of the season 2012-2013.
Well, the season.
Winner.
December against York at home.
In a 3-2 defeat on the 1st of December, yeah.
We've literally been watching that, watching all of his old goals. I say all, 6.
Put the link in the description because it's the
that
best goal.
is a very good goal. Very good goal.
How many have you scored, Rhys?
I think I'm on about 26 now.
I think that's more than Tanner, and he played up front.
Told you. I'm only good at one thing.
Talent. Goal scoring defender. I like it. I bet it's been a bit of a mad year for you, Rhys, because like it's been crazy. Because I know obviously you started the year at Peterborough. Obviously we've had lockdown in between. We've seen you stream a lot of Football Manager and FIFA, and then obviously now you're at a new club as well. Like, what was, I mean, your version of events? Obviously, when sort of lockdown hit in March, how were you feeling at the time? Were you sort of comfortable at Peterborough, or what was the situation there?
Well, I think without like going into too much details, the whole of last season I wanted to leave Peterborough. So one situation occurred where I couldn't leave at the end of January. It was just a scenario where it's like, okay, cool, get as many games as you can into the end of the season, and then obviously once the season finishes, then that's pretty much you.
Yeah, so you always sort of knew from, well, at least from January, that sort of this time of the year, or after the summer, you were going to be somewhere else anyway. You already knew that.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, obviously it was a case of if I can get a promotion winning medal, then it's a lot better for me in terms of my CV. So it's like one of them where I'm not really like I wouldn't say like a toxic person anyway. So it's like I have some good friends there, so I wanted the club to get promoted, both for the club itself and for me. And then obviously, I think if you're coming into the summer as a free agent, knowing that you got promoted from a League One club, then it looks pretty decent, to be fair.
And what were your sort of aspirations from that? Like, what did you think personally, like, after you left Peterborough, do you think, right, what sort of level are you aiming at to become a player of? Obviously, we know you've just joined Carlisle, which we'll talk about a bit more shortly, but like, where did you see yourself at? Did you see yourself at another League One club, or did you think you could make that step up to the Championship?
Did you get a little bit disappointed when United spent 90 million on Maguire and not on you?
Well, to be honest, like in football, like I didn't start playing football to sort of play at this level or that level. It's one of them where, you know what, I sort of dedicate my life to it, so I want to try and get as high as possible. And I sort of spent the whole sort of summer strategizing where it's like, okay, I'm gonna get released from Peterborough, but then how do I get to the next level? And Yeah, well, obviously there's some details of this summer which I can't really explain.
Yeah.
But it was disappointing because I did have a move that I would say that it was kind of like my dream move, to a level that I was really happy with, and it fell through at the last minute.
I would just like to say, that secret is still safe for me.
Yeah.
Just saying. You trusted me with that, and still not a soul knows.
I'm glad to hear it. But yeah, like I say,
gutted they didn't sign you.
But like I say, like in football, like you just got and in life in general, really, you just got to pick yourself up and sort of go again. And then obviously for me, I either sort of we kind of took the strategy where it's like, okay, we've got a club at X level that we're really happy with. It didn't work out, but let's try and wait and see whether you can try and get the same club at the same level.
Yeah.
And it like time went on, and then it became a case of, okay, cool. There's like 2 months to go until January. What do you want to do? Do you want to stream FM and FIFA and sit at home, or do you want to go somewhere and get some games? And it's like, I actually want to go and do my job. So I think it's like beneficial for me to go out and play.
Yeah, and obviously, I know it's not everything, but obviously money is a factor as well. If you're comfortable enough in still playing until January, you've still got 2 months worth of wages there, rather than, like you say, streaming FM and FIFA. Like, you still need to look after yourself and your family, or your partner or whatever. So you still want to be doing your job, like you say. Really, did you have to? Like we spoke with Craig Tanner the other day, who's playing for Aldershot at the moment. He's knocked back offers from abroad before. Did you have any offers from abroad that you had to knock back this summer?
Yeah, I had to be fair, like once you're a free agent, then people sort of are allowed to form their own opinions as to why you're a free agent.
Right. Got it.
And yeah, I've had quite a bit of interest, specifically from like the A-League in Australia.
Oh wow.
Had a few agents text me saying like, look, the money that you will make in the A-League is like so much. Yeah, it's incredible compared to maybe what you'd make at Leagues 1 and 2, and it's kind of a case of explaining to him now, look, I want to play in, I don't know, say for example the Championship. If I move to the A-League now, I even know financially it would be a lot better than obviously what I've done, but then I'm kind of giving up on my dream of trying to play there. So for me, even though short term, medium term, it's probably a lot more beneficial financially. In my heart of hearts, I can't be the person that says like, I'll do that instead of I could have had this and didn't go for it. So yeah,
selling out rather than chasing your dream.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously it's a bit weird to say this, but obviously everyone wants to earn money, but I don't play football for the money. I want to play football to get to the highest level, to say at the end of my career at 36 or whenever it is, that I squeezed the best out of my ability that I could. And obviously when you do that as well, like naturally the Championship, the average wage is 3 or 4 times higher than the average wage in League 1, so it is financially beneficial to get there as well. So
when you're kind of thinking about making those decisions, obviously there's a lot of your own personal kind of input in that, I'm guessing, but what about like your family and stuff? Do you kind of think about, like you say about moving to the A-League, like moving family and things? That's quite a big move to think about. I know the money's good, but you also got to kind of upheave any family and things like that, haven't you? So does that come into your thinking as well?
I mean, I don't know whether I could say I'm fortunate or unfortunate, but I don't have well, I have a girlfriend, but I don't have like kids yet or stuff like that. I think once you
very fortunate.
I think once you do, then you have to think about your family much more. Whereas me, like, I'm in a kind of privileged position where, I mean, I've been away from home for the last 6 years, but I just want to strategically go to where the best offer is in terms of my long-term thinking, and I'm not, and I wouldn't say held back, but I'm not sort of restricted by at a stage of my career where it's like, no, but the kids are here, I might need to travel into training, etc. I don't want to uproot them or anything like that. So
yeah.
Let me ask you a question then, Rhys. With all the FM and the Football Manager that you've been playing and the FIFA, how far along are your coaching badges, mate? Is that a route that you're looking at after football because of your love of Football Manager, or?
I
mean, let's not be too harsh. You're only mid-20s, right?
29.
I'm only 29.
Yeah,
mid-20s.
Yeah, mate, I'm 28. You're definitely young, so it's alright. You're only as young as the girl you feel, mate.
Exactly, mate. I've done like the preliminary sort of levels 1 and 2 in terms of my coaching badges, but it's definitely something that I am going to do in the next couple of years, as long with just doing something else as well. I'm probably going to do a master's in the next couple of years.
Nice, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm what was it? I said to you the other day, wasn't it, Joe, that it was like, it popped up on my Facebook that it was like 15 years ago or something like that stupid that I did my level 1. They wouldn't 15. Must have been 11 years ago that I'd done my level 1 coaching badge, and I've done fuck all with it, and I'm so disappointed. I might get back into it once the old lockdown stuff.
Definitely worth
Dave,
it.
you enjoy yours, don't you, mate?
Yeah, because I had my level. Well, I've been coaching 2 years this month,
nice.
a team. But I'm still not at my level 1. I had planned for the beginning of this year, and obviously with the lockdown and everything, they've paused them all at the moment. So it's hard for me because I work on a Saturday as well. A lot of the coaching courses are on Saturdays, or they require you to do Sundays as well. And obviously at the time with Wolves as well, like, I would miss like weeks of real life football. So I tried to get a Saturday or an evening one. I think I tried to get an evening one, like a Wednesday evening. So that would have worked well. So hopefully they'll when things start to get back to normal, I'll jump on that again. But really enjoyable, really enjoyable.
That'd be good for your team because your team are crap.
no, they're all right. To be fair, our team. They're all right now. We've been good since pre-season. We've been good. Well,
since lockdown, they've been brilliant.
Yeah. Last 2 weeks we've been unbeaten.
I tell you what, it's one thing because my old man used to do it. He used to do men's and kids, and he used to love it. Absolutely fucking, really, really love it. And it would be his weekend. You know, he'd work through the week, do training in the week, 2 nights a week with the blokes, 1 night with the kids, and then bang, Saturday, Sunday, and that's all he used to think about. So I'd love to be able to get involved, get my badges up, go and coach, and then get him in as an assistant manager. Come on, because my old man's, he's not young anymore. To be fair, he's just closing in on 60 very shortly, and he does a kid, like, he genuinely does a kid's job. It's a long story, but basically he's a labourer. To cut it short, he's a labourer. For a man of just shy of 60, you can't do a labourer's job. So he is knackered, and so what he does at the weekend is he just lies on the sofa and just rests up. And then
so you want him to be your assistant manager, who in like Sunday League football is the person that runs the line.
Yeah.
No, he wouldn't run the line.
Just to knacker him out a bit more.
I want that inheritance. No, I think because it just screws with his mind, and he's becoming more and more kind of losing his marbles. And I think getting him out on the football pitch, we all know it's football. You never forget it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that'd be great for him. But yeah, that's one of my main reasons why I'd want to get involved.
Yeah, same with the football.
And then we can get Rhys down for pre-season as well. Yeah.
It's like your own team. Everyone like really like a lot of people when you're really into football, your own team's performances like affects your mood and stuff like that. Like even with the team I coach, if we lose on a Sunday morning, I'll be pissed off for the rest of the day.
That's still pissed off most Sundays then, Dave.
Well, you're like making my team out to be absolutely whack. Like, we're alright, man.
They're not great.
They're alright. We've adopted a three at the back system, and it's working well.
He goes in after lockdown. He's like, right, you're playing
three at the back system. They play 7 aside.
Yeah. 3-2-1, mate. It's a good system.
3-2-1. Go.
Yeah.
I've always wondered this actually about professional footballers because it's their job. So like how you clock off your job and then you go home and you try not to think about it. With football, like you're saying there, how it affects your mood because it's your job. Does it affect your mood like in that way? It's always something that I kind of thought. Well, it's just their job. So when you get home, it's like, do you just go, it's over and done with, or do you actually kind of mentally take it home with you?
Yeah, you're kind of speaking to someone that spent Tuesday night up till 4 a.m. just replaying just scenarios in the game where it's like, oh, maybe I should have done this, or maybe I should have done that.
Yeah.
How did you get on Tuesday night?
We lost 1-0.
I thought you were going to say we won. I'm like,
No, Saturday night I slept like a baby.
Yeah, so winning's good. Okay.
But no, when it sort of is your life, it's like, okay. And obviously one of the things where it's like, right, how do I give myself the best chance of succeeding? It's like, right, let me look into my diet, reading books and stuff like that. Let me look into my mental approach to the game. And I think, to be fair, once you get to a stage where you sort of try things and work out what fits best for you, then you're at a stage where it's like, you know what, for me, because I'm an overthinker, it works best for me to just do something to take my mind off it, which is one of the reasons why I decided to start streaming. Because, like, I'm one of those people that if I miss the passing training, I go home and think about it, and it's like, right, I need to go and work on my passing. It's like, right, I'm going to come in 15 minutes earlier, work on my passing, I'm going to do this and do that. And they're like, what are you on about? You did well in training. But it's like, if I could go home and just be able to just switch off, focus on something else, I feel like all that sort of mental energy that you waste worrying about stuff that hasn't even happened and probably won't never happen, if you use that in a constructive way when you actually get to training in the games, it's a lot more beneficial. Well, that's what I think.
Do you find that obviously in football everyone is looking for that immediate edge over the next person, right? It's as much as you're a team, I always get the vibe that you have to be very self-centered with it, and you have to make sure you, like you said, you're checking your diet, you're doing this, you're doing that. Yeah,
I mean, you basically, there's 11 self-employed people on the pitch.
That's what I was getting at, yeah.
So, I mean, like, you could be the best player on the pitch, but if it's your fault for a goal, you don't play.
Yeah.
And for example, there's a lot of money involved in football, and like obviously, like a lot of people don't really see this, but it's such a cold and cutthroat game where everyone just basically looks after themselves. Because at the end of the day, you can make yourself a millionaire if you're successful in football. So, and I can't really blame people that want to look after themselves. But say for example, for me, like being a centre half, you can be the best player on the pitch, but at my age, no one's gonna buy you from a higher league because of age and because of years that they'll get out of you. So you kind of have to do everything that you can and plan your career strategically to try and like get yourself to the next level, whether that be in terms of being a free agent instead of them having to pay money for you, whether in terms of adding stuff to your game like goals, for example. But like you have to think about these things, like I need to get a clean sheet, I need to make sure my past success is like way higher than everyone else's, I need to score more goals than everyone else, I need to do this more than everyone else, just to make sure that I'm okay, kind of thing.
And you're thinking about that every day.
Whilst trying to do everything, whilst people are shouting at you on the edge of the pitch and people are tweeting shit at you, you're trying to focus on that with trying to do all that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I got to an age now where I just don't even check what people tweet about me, unless it's a good thing. But yeah,
imagine Dave having that. Oh fuck, the fucker wouldn't ever sleep. He checks Twitter now.
Dave is the worst.
Name.
Dave is the worst. Like anybody gives him, like anybody says anything about him, he has to reply. Like, or he'll be talking to us going, "Have you seen this bloke who's messaged me?" Like, just ignore it. Like, it literally, they're irrelevant. If you don't want them to be relevant, they're irrelevant. And like, he just takes it. Every single person that says something, and like, just ignore it.
No,
like,
I think when I was younger, I used to really care because I want everyone to like you. But when you get to a point where it's like, you know what? I know I've had a bad game. I know I know everyone that watches that game will think I'm crap based on that game. But I know that I'm better than that. But yeah,
and
I mean,
some people are just dicks.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people. I've been tweeted after a Peterborough game. Someone bought me a one-way ticket back to Manchester. Told me not to come back. There's so many like tweets like that and stuff like that. Said if Rhys Bennett's playing today, I'm going home. But then like it swings and roundabouts because then the same person that tweeted me at the end of the season saying, "Oh, you've played really well for us this season. I wish you would have stayed." And one of the fans actually said, "Look at the difference between your two tweets. One's from the start of the season, one's at the end." And yeah, sometimes football makes you laugh, man.
Do you think that has an impact though on some players, like their position at a club? Like if you're getting like stick off fans, you're like at the back of your head, do you think, why am I even playing? No, I'm not saying just for Peterborough, but just people.
100%. Like you've seen it. There's countless times in football you've seen it. I remember Granit Xhaka comes to my mind. Where the fans are giving him abuse and he turns around and gives like he gives the V sign to the fans, and then you're thinking like. And everyone's
giving a human response. He's giving a human response rather than a professional response.
It's almost like you're not supposed to be or allowed to be a human being when you play football. Because the reaction to that was like, oh, I can't believe Granit Xhaka's done that to a fan. It's like, these guys have been abusing him and his family. Yeah. If someone did that to you in the street, there would be consequences.
If you're at work as well. Yeah. Even if you're at work.
Like Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer springs to mind as well. Like, just getting up and I'm like... You would, like any of your siblings, your family, if someone's giving them grief, like as a human being, you're going to protect them.
Exactly.
So it's like, I understand obviously, the bringing the game into disrepute and all the stuff like that. As you say, there's a lot of money in it, so stuff like that, can affect brand deals, like the whole, Mesut Ozil thing. It's that kind of thing is all political. Is why he's not playing. Nothing to do with that man's ability, because he's a genius on the football pitch.
Exactly.
It's all to do with protecting their brand. And that's why they're doing it. But I was going to say, like, obviously you're quite, you come across as quite a headstrong person, like a thinker. You're very, kind of, I want to say brand aware of yourself. But have you had teammates or anything that have struggled with like getting abuse from fans? That it actually affects their mentality.
Yeah, it affects. I think, I don't think there's any person on this earth that can honestly say they've seen people say bad things or tweet bad things about them, and they don't. And it doesn't affect him in the slightest bit. And like, it gets to a stage where you see people and you see teammates, and I sort of see myself as well, like my younger self, and just being like, I don't know what to do here. I've seen people where they've been getting abused from fans, and they literally just go into their shell, and it's a shame because. And like this is a thing as well, because obviously at the moment, fans, there's not really a lot of fans that are allowed in, and you can actually see a difference in players to playing without fans than how they used to play per se when fans are allowed in the stadiums.
I said that to Duke the other day. I was like, you see some of these games and you're like, how are they playing so well? Like Villa, for instance, like a team like that. Like if they're getting like, you don't want to say abuse because that is quite harsh, but if they're getting battering from the fans for like underperforming, and then that can affect their mentality, and then when there's no fans there, actually they can relax and play their game, and you see like their results, they're doing really well. And I think that's why I think like the Premier League especially, like you look at how all these goals that are going, the goals that are being scored in every game is ridiculous at the moment, and you think, is that the lack of fan pressure because they're taking chances, whereas if obviously they took a chance it didn't come off, like they'd have the crowd on their back, like the whole stadium's booing them and things like that. And it's like, without that pressure there, are they being allowed to just express themselves a little bit more?
100%. I feel like there is definitely a difference playing to sort of a crowd than just playing at home, and I'm sure you guys experience that in life, speaking in front of loads of people to just speaking like between others or speaking to your family and stuff like that. There's definitely a difference, and I feel like football is kind of on the pitch, but I think the mental side of the game is like, it's so much bigger than people think, because like you see people in training that will hit every single free kick in the top corner, but on a match day when there's 30,000 fans there, then you're going to see what they're actually like.
You read about that in a lot of autobiographies and a lot of books. It's like this guy used to like get on the pitch in training and be like, oh my god, this guy's amazing, world class. Gets on the pitch and he sinks. It's just a completely different person.
He's making buttons,
Exactly. And yeah, I feel like there is a sort of mental battle, whereas not necessarily the best or the most talented people get to the top. It's just the people that can deal with the sort of mental side of it the best that succeed more.
And do the clubs help with that, Rhys? Like, have they got people to try and help people deal with the mental side of it?
I mean, I would say that it's got a little bit better, but really and truly, like, football's a brutal world. Like, unless you're at a Premier League club where you're really struggling and you're, say, for example, their best player, they really and truly, they don't care. They've got 22 people, 2 people for every position. If you're not playing well, they just get the next person in. They're not actually going to give it a second thought as to why he's not playing well, or can we really help him, unless it's a situation that's beneficial to them. Whereas, I don't know, say for example, Cristiano Ronaldo stopped scoring for 5 games, and then everyone will be like, oh, okay, well, we need to help him. Whereas if a young player at Juventus didn't score for 5 games, then he's not good enough.
Yeah. I just wondered if it was something like, I think sometimes football can come across as being a little bit stuck in the dark ages. Like, I know it's progressed a lot, probably in the last decade especially. But like, if there was that kind of mental side, like if there are players that are talents in training but then just can't kind of have that mental edge in games, it's like, is that an asset to have someone that can help them kind of deal with that, and then be able to flourish on the pitch? And like, maybe it's just something that they're not, like, by having that cutthroat, oh, he's not good enough, just get rid of him. What about like having someone that can actually nurture that and make them perform on the pitch? It's surely got to be, I know it's difficult because I'm just looking from the outside in, but
no,
it's one of those things where you think the mental side of anything, just in business, if you can unlock someone mentally, like they can really flourish. And it just seems like a little bit stubborn of them not to be forward thinking like that.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. But I just think that in terms of a manager, they're really only like 4 games away from being under pressure. You lose 4 games, you're under pressure. It's like, realistically, when their job's on the line, how long did they wait for someone to sort of improve? And it might take 2 or 3 months. But in that time, they'd be out of a job. So they're really just looking for the guy that is 6 out of 10 every week. I mean, like, obviously, because of... I mean, if it was a case of, the manager was in the job for 2-3 years and he had some sort of job security and the club had a financial level of security, but at the moment, with everything, like, I mean, like, there's 12 teams that are in the Premier League just fighting to stay up. There's... every single manager, that I think the average length of a manager's contract is like 10 months, or a manager's reign. Like, they just haven't got the time to sort of wait. And I 100% agree. It's really it would be really beneficial. And sometimes I think, even about myself, like if I sort of worked on myself mentally, what level could I get to? But like I say, it's just the industry right now. Everything is just short-term thinking, and like, people don't really, they do care, but it's not as important as keeping their job.
Because it confuses me massively that you have all this like you said, the fitness coaches, you got the coaches that will specialise in attacking, defending. You got your rehab guys, you got your physios, you got your club doctor, but then there's no one there to look at the mental side. And granted, whether trying to get something the best out of you, but just in general, if you're going through a tough time, or with the lockdown, with the pandemic, it surprises me. I mean, we spoke to Craig yesterday, and he said, the other day, he said there wasn't much, but you would assume that in an environment that's so, your assets to that football club, they don't own you, but you would assume that they would want every inch of you protected and looked after, and make sure that you are working to the best of your ability. They want to get the best out of you. So it just surprises me that there isn't more to do with the mental side of the game. It really does. And I think Craig was talking about getting a psychiatrist in. He's surprised that isn't a thing in football yet. There's no such thing as a football psychiatrist, like in clubs, active, and looking into the psyche of players and how they can improve these players' mental capacity and dealing with situations like the one-on-ones, the penalties. Improve the composure. 20.
Yeah, 100%.
Decision making 20.
It's I think it's a bit deep there. But when you say the word mental, I want to know: have you got any Barry Fry stories?
Barry Fry stories.
Because he must make people absolutely shit their pants.
To To be honest, he seems, well, he was a really sort of jovial guy. I remember the first time I ever encountered him on my first sort of pre-season training session. I just saw him walking around the training pitch with his top off, belly out, he had the hairiest grey chest I've ever seen, and he's just walking around just on the phone. But yeah, I think that the most notable thing about him is his match of the day ringtone and his accent. He's like, hello. But
it's like Terry Tibbs, isn't he?
Yeah, it's definitely like a throwback. But every Monday after we won a game, he comes into the canteen and he's like, hey!
Who's the manager? There's the gif is about where he walks into the away dressing room or the home dressing room and he's kind of sneaking in like this, or is it an owner? And
that's an American one, I think. That's an American one.
I want to find that gif. It's such a funny gif. Do you know which one I'm talking about, Joe? You look confused.
I know what it is.
I'll have to find it. Dave knows, yeah? Okay. I'll let you know.
Okay. Obviously, I'll talk about Peterborough because one of my friends is good. He's been a Peterborough fan forever. Did you work under Darren Ferguson?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's him and the chairman as well. Is it Darren McKensley?
Mm-hmm.
I've always been interested about them because they're he's a character, and I know he's got a podcast out now, and I've not listened to it, and I'm thinking, you probably, I don't know what you can and can't say, but obviously when you're deciding you want to leave, is he asking you to stay? Is he what? Because he seems a bit like a Simon Jordan type character where he's a bit outspoken, and not just he likes a bit of the limelight himself.
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on. Right there. I think, it's difficult. Just to see because really and truly, you are a person, but to them you're just like a pawn in their game. So I remember that there was a situation where obviously I didn't start the season at Peterborough in the team. And I remember having a conversation with the manager saying, look, not playing, if I continue to not play, I've got 6 months left on my deal, would you let me go in January? And towards the end of November, early December, I think we had a massive illness bout in the club. So I ended up playing. I ended up playing really well.
Had you been cooking them your vegan stuff?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm the only person not to get ill, so it stood me in good.
It's a lasagna.
But yeah, then sort of the situation. Then my agent went in again. He had the same conversation. Look, I know he's playing in the team, but he's got 6 months left. You're not going to give him a new deal, so will you let him go? It's like yeah, no worries. So played well, played in the FA Cup third round against Burnley away, played well in that. And then got to a stage where I had a club at a similar level and they just completely changed their tune. And I don't know whether this was actually the chairman speaking through the gaffer or the gaffer just saying, oh, well, it was him, so we can kind of get what he wants across. But yeah, it was a situation where it's like, oh, these want you. And these want you and these want you. Oh no, you're not going anywhere. And we want money for you. And I was like, look, don't do this because you literally just said, and I double checked, that this was the case. You literally told me in the summer that I can go, and then that I can't go when I found somewhere. You're not doing it to me again. But then obviously I ended up staying. But yeah, it is frustrating, but like I say, he does. What can I actually say to him? Because objectively, he gets the absolute best for his football club. In terms of the transfer fees that he gets for his players, it's ridiculous. His sort of financial nous, should I say, is second to none. Whether I have a good personal relation, I thank him for bringing me to the club. Obviously, what happened with me, but at the same time, I kind of have to take my sort of personal experience out of that and realize that to them, I'm just the part that probably wasn't working, decided to work, and it's like, oh no, we've got a working part here, and we're not taking it, we're not letting it go for nothing. Yeah, and we want something for it. And when you sort of look at it like that and kind of take away the kind of like pride and the ego, then it's not, they didn't do it because it was Rhys Bennett, you know what I mean? They're doing it because it's the best for their football club, and I can never really blame someone for that, even though obviously personally I'm like
I've got to ask as well, because one of our boys, Raz, you just said about playing Burnley. Who did you mark?
Chris Wood.
Is he a shithouse?
I marked Tarkowski from corners though, to be fair.
Yeah. Any tricks that are up to? He absolutely loves the dice shithousery, so.
I just remember the referee. It's like he wanted to give a penalty against me. Every time I was marking him, he's like, no hands, Rhys, no hands. I'll give a pen, you know, I'll give a pen. And then by the fourth corner and that, I said, look, my hands are here. If you want to give a pen, just give a pen right now, because I'm no longer I'm no longer bothered about what you have to say to me. I'm marking him, I'm not fouling him. Leave me alone.
With Tarkowski as well. Yeah. I was going to say, with Tarkowski, like, obviously he's played for England. When you're playing against someone of that level, do you look at him and go, he's levels above, or were you like, actually, he's had a good, he made it good at the right time?
Obviously anyone that's played at the top level, you have the sort of utmost respect for. But at the same time, I think I've seen so many cases and examples of, and it's almost back to what you were saying before, where it's like the players that are ridiculous in training are ridiculous in spells, but then some of them are ending up playing in non-league, and then there are players in the Premier League where you play against them and you think, you know what, you've had an incredible career, but if you can do it, no disrespect, I think a lot of people can do it. And you sort of see people, they go from League 2 to the Championship, they go from Championship to League 2, they go from League 1 to the Prem. Like, I think my example I'd probably use is Ivan Toney. Did really well for Peterborough. He's gone to the Championship, everyone's saying big step up, but I said he'd play in the Premier League when he was at Peterborough, and right now he's ripping up the Championship. So, like, realistically, like, Tarkowski is an incredible player, and there's also a case of, like, when you're actually training and playing with better players and against better players, you naturally improve anyway.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it's like, if you can actually get there, it's one thing. And then obviously once you're there, everything, like, you play a 5-yard pass, the guy might put it in from 45 yards and you've got an assist. Like, and then it's somehow you've got 10 assists, but really and truly you might have not done too much. But yeah, like, I don't actually think there's that much a difference between the levels. So it's just down to like just life and luck and being right place at the right time. And it's kind of like why I decided to take the strategy I took this summer, because, like, obviously God forbid something happened to anyone in my position in sort of like the higher leagues, and I don't know, they might pick up the phone, and who's the, like, sort of trying to be the best free agent out there in that position. And it's like, you come in, you might have one or two good lucky games, and now, say for example, you're a Championship player, whereas really and truly you were the same League 1 player that you were 5 weeks ago, but in the actual football world, the perception of you has changed massively.
Yeah.
So basically, what you're saying is you know, let's go and poison Harry Maguire. Let's go get it. Let's go lock Lindelof in his bedroom, and Twinzaby can. Let's go get him. I don't know. Let's go lock him in the car, and then you're at United, mate. Is that what you're saying?
100%, yeah.
There you go. Start at Old Trafford.
Could do with a decent centre half.
Yeah.
Who's your team, Rhys? Because you're born in Bolton.
Sorry, goal scoring.
Goal
scoring centre half is what I need. Yeah.
He's a United fan, though.
Is he United?
Massive United fan.
Oh, yeah.
Massive.
Oh, no wonder you're licking his arse then.
You never know, right? He's just said all about timings. Imagine that comes up on Sky's. Hang on. Fucking Rhys Bennett's gone to United. Hello, mate. Yeah, you know that time where I got you on the podcast? Yeah, great chat, mate. Great chat. Yeah, so I was really nice to you. You want to give me tickets this weekend?
What are you about tickets?
Yeah. Becomes one of them.
I got a season ticket. I'm alright.
Your first pro deal was at Bolton. That was a mad. Like you were there, what, 3 years? That was quite a mad period for them during those years. Was that?
Yeah.
So saying that, they were probably in the Prem for all 3 of those years, weren't they? I think.
Yeah. So I think I signed at 11 years old at Bolton. So I was with there through like the whole the glory days, really. To be fair. I think
UEFA Cup days as well with Megson and
Allardyce incredible.
Was there and stuff. Yeah.
Oh mate,
incredible.
Allardyce. He's like one of my heroes, man.
Honestly,
so if you've got a story about Allardyce, I want to know it.
Honestly, he was probably one of the best people I've ever sort of come across. I remember because when you're sort of like 12, 13, 14, you go on day release from school to go and actually train in at the same training grounds as the first team. And I remember the sessions that he put on and just the mood that he had around the camp. And I remember thinking, you know what, if he stays here, I've got half a chance there, because I really, really enjoyed sort of my time under him. But I wasn't actually under him. I was nowhere near anything. But just the players he brought to the club, it's just incredible. I'm how did he bring a JJ Okocha, Fernando Hierro, and Ivan Campo, Djorkaeff, and the list goes on, and Nicholas Anelka.
Did you get to see any of these players up close in training at all?
Yeah, I remember. I remember when I was 14, and I think we was doing our training session, and Ivan Campo came over to just mess about, and I remember him pinging a ball to me from 50 yards away. And my touch went 50 yards the other way. And I remember thinking, you know what, if this is the Premier League and this is the standard, I've got a lot of work to do. I just remember thinking, how have these guys got such good technique and can pass a ball like this? Whereas I'm struggling to kick it from A to B. But yeah, just train. I remember Ricardo Vastey just coming over and just running at you 1v1 just on a random area of the training pitch. And it's just little memories like that just stay with you forever.
He was a baller, wasn't he, Vastey, on his day?
Ridiculous.
Player, wasn't he?
Mate, playoffs. Come on, West Ham.
Yeah.
If it weren't for Vastey, mate.
Sorry, dude, go on.
I'll be really quick. I'm just looking through some of the lists, sorry, because my 2009 to 2012 Bolton knowledge isn't the best. Proudy favourite, Marvin Sordell. You played with him at Bolton as well, didn't you? He says he's got 3 appearances at the same time you were in the squad. Did you ever meet him? Because Proudy's a big lover of him.
So basically, he was first team when I was kind of in the reserves. But I went on loan that season when he was sort of playing.
Take it back.
So I didn't really encounter him too much.
I went when Megson was in charge, he had a guy called Chris Evans as assistant, Welsh guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he was, because he worked at Wolves for a long time.
Yeah, I remember.
His son was my best mate at primary school. So I remember to be fair, Chris Evans had the job for 2 weeks, and I never knew about it. And he came to me one day after school. He goes, "Oh, my dad's got the assistant manager job at Bolton." I was like, "What the fuck?" Because Prem team and that. And I went to one of the UEFA Cup games, and Bolton, I think off the top of my head, beat Atletico Madrid 1-0, and El Hadj Diouf scored the goal. But because we'd gone with him, it was me and my dad, because I remember it was a Valentine's Day in I think it was I want to say 06, 07, 08, around then.
Yeah.
And we was in the players' lounge and stuff, and obviously all the players walked past to go to the tunnel. El Hadj Diouf poked his head round at half time. It was 0-0, and my dad said to him, he goes, "Which foot are you going to score with?" And he goes, "Oh, I'll score with this one." And I think they got a player sent off, and Diouf went down the other end and scored with that foot as well. It was class, but yeah, it was Gary Megson and
good old A-Day.
Gary Megson and Chris Evans. But yeah, I think Chris is doing stuff with Robbie Keane now. They were managing in India and stuff for a bit, because he brought Keane to Wolves. So did you have any experience of Megson or Chris?
It's funny because obviously you mentioned Chris Evans.
Yeah.
And then obviously previously before you sort of mentioned sort of timing and luck and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, when Gary Megson brought Chris Evans in, he brought a centre back from Wolves, my age. It's 16, 17
what was
on
his name?
£4 a week. Mark Connolly.
Oh, Connolly. Name rings a
Well done,
bell.
Dave.
He kind of got,
And he was he was the kind of guy that was training with the first team, and was like the kind of hot prospect, whereas previously I'd been doing like really well, and then it was kind of like, okay.
So did you hate Chris Evans then after that?
No, I wouldn't say I hated Chris Evans, but it's just one of those where you're thinking, okay, if they didn't bring him in,
what have I got to do? Yeah.
Then mate, blah blah blah. But
I think it's all about like you say, like it's just not, I want to say opportunities or luck or just almost
just even someone liking you, because Chris Evans obviously brought Mark Connolly over, and if he was to objectively look,
because I can't remember him that much.
Yeah, if he was to look objectively at our careers, then I've sort of done better than him. But it's what I mean. Like at the time, it's like he is the next best thing.
Yeah, I remember because Chris was like, even Chris, I know he did coaching badges with Gary Megson. That's the only reason he got the job. That's how we knew Gary Megson. But like Chris was so highly almost thought of because he was the one that brought Robbie Keane to England to Wolves. He like Wayne Hennessy as well.
Yeah,
like Chris was like academy director, and he like had such a Wayne Rooney. He approached to get at Wolves, but Rooney had literally just signed for Everton as well. So like they're the sort of players. Like he was really good.
Yeah,
I don't think,
to be fair, he has a very good reputation.
Yeah, Megson wasn't at Bolton that much longer because we went to that game. And like Anelka then wanted to start, like he went to he forced his move to Chelsea after that and stuff like that as well. But the facilities there, like at the time, were mad, like because we were
ridiculous.
Gary Megson was sound as well because he was big, like big with Albion. So like obviously I wasn't a lot younger. I was like wasn't that much into the Wolves Albion thing anyway. I wasn't that arsed about it. But he was a really sound guy. Let us like look around everywhere really. But a really nice club, man, Bolton. Yeah, it's a shame obviously what's happened recently as well. But
yeah, it's a massive shame.
But like, did you obviously after that, like, did your contract expire there, or did you sort of see that you weren't really going to get the opportunities there, so you moved on?
I mean, like, if I was to look back on my career, it's probably my biggest sort of regret doing what I did. So I was sort of playing really well. Played in the sort of second team, or the under-23s as they're called now, but back then they were called the reserves. When I was 17. So I played from 17 to 19 in reserves, like captain of reserves. Doing really well, like playing against like men and like enjoying it. And then it gets to a stage where it's like, okay, I've done this now. I see like all the people my age, they're going out on loan. And like my agent, we had sort of League 1 and League 2 teams that were coming in for me on loan. They're saying they're going to ring the club, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. I want to go and play real proper men's football now for my development. And the club was saying no, 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 and no, and no. And it got to a stage where I was sort of like 19, 20. They offered me a new deal. And I was like, I don't want to sign it because I don't want to do another year of doing what I did. I want to go and play men's football now. Like, I was like so frustrated in not being able to play, and like obviously refused to sign the deal, even though if somebody else wanted me, they'd have to pay for me because of like the Bosman rule. Ended up signing it 2 days before pre-season started, and then 3 days after that, I was shipped off to Scotland on loan.
Did you want to go there? Were you
it was just a case of at that time I was like, I just literally want to go anywhere and play first team football. But like when I objectively look back at it now, it's like, okay, cool. The manager that they sort of sent me to was one of the gaffer's friends, Stephen Presley.
I just saw Owen Coyle was the manager, so
Presley's,
I know Presley.
He was like an ex-international centre-back for Scotland. They wanted me to grow up. Because I was a bit childish, so they sent me to a different country. Whereas I was like, oh, well, Crewe want me, and they're right round the corner. Yeah. It's like, no, you need to go grow up, 19, 20. We want you to go and play in the Scottish Championship, not even the Scottish Prem, the Scottish Championship, because it's a lot more physical. Because at the time, sort of my sort of weaknesses was I was good on the ball, good technically, but like physically and in terms of aggression, wasn't quite there. So they sent me there and got my nose broken in the first game. It was great.
Oh, man.
But like, when I look back on it now, and I sort of struggled being away from home with the style of play and stuff like that for that year. But the experience was sort of vital to me. But yeah, looking back on it now, I was like, well, I should have just been a little bit more patient. But I can understand why they sent me there, and the experience definitely stood me in good stead.
That's good though, man. And then obviously Rochdale, Mansfield as well. Obviously Rochdale, I mean, that's the club you've played your most games at. Did you enjoy your time there as well?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it there. Obviously, the manager that signed me was one of the managers that initially wanted to sign me on loan, so I was buzzing. And then obviously Keith Hill came and decided pretty quickly that I wasn't going to play centre half for him because I was a little bit inconsistent at like sort of 2021. And then yeah, we got promoted. But I think the thing for me, like at Rochdale, is I played literally every single position apart from keeper, and for it's great because I'm playing, but for me in my career, sort of long term, I needed to establish myself and say, well, because I remember my agent rang, I think it was a League One club at the time, and they was like, well, okay, we like him, but where does he play? And I was like, okay, well at this point, I really need to like take a step back and decide, right, I play this position and I do it well, this is who I am, kind of thing. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed my time at Rochdale, and yeah, it was just, I just think like it got to a stage where it's like, alright, no, I can't play in front of the back four, then right wing, then left wing, then centre back. I can't do that for 4 or 5 weeks. I just want to play centre back.
And obviously moved to Carlisle now. How are you finding that early stages there? But it's already scored a goal. Man of the match performance, was it? But yeah, doing all right there.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm really enjoying it. I'm just enjoying playing football. I've got a manager that like loves me, so.
Who's in charge?
I really, Chris Beach. He was the assistant manager at Rochdale when I was there.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Oh nice.
When I was there, the sort of manager was the kind of bad cop, and he was the good cop. And it's one of those people that you sort of keep in contact with anyway, because we used to share lifts in and stuff and just speak about just normal things. Yeah. So I was actually like delighted for him when he got the job, and then obviously throughout the summer he's been sort of, what you doing, you coming down? And I was like, no, I'm waiting for this, I'm waiting for this, I'm waiting. He's like, you coming down? I was like, I'm waiting for this. And then it's one of the cases like, okay, chairman's told me, he's like, look, he's been trying to sign you all summer, so I put something together for you, but he absolutely loves you, so can you show him why, please? I was like, okay, I'll do my best.
I've just quickly seen as well, Steve Evans, obviously you played under him a bit. What was he like? I've heard stories about Steve Evans, but what's your opinion of him?
To be honest, right,
prefer not to speak.
I got so when the manager at Mansfield got sacked and everyone found out that it was him that was coming, I had several texts on my phone. It's like, okay, it's Steve Evans, you're screwed, you're finished. Like that's it. But I remember just meeting him and his assistant, and I've never met him or his assistant before. And the assistant, he's like, we went around the changing room shaking hands, and he's like, nice to meet you, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. Oh, Benno, how you doing? No, nice to meet you. And I'm thinking,
who the hell's this guy?
I had never met you before.
Yeah.
But apparently they tried to sign me when they were at Rotherham.
Oh, yeah.
And I played my first game at centre half for him, and as much as you get shouted at and called every name under the sun, you have a manager that likes you, that plays you, and everything around it, in terms of like financially, you get looked after in terms of lifestyle, hotels, days off, etc. Everything around that, other than being probably like verbally abused every day, is great. So if you can get past that, then it's incredible. And also, like, I think for him as well, like when the transfer window sort of cemented itself, where you couldn't go and sign 3 different players after every bad performance on a Saturday, then he kind of calmed himself down as a manager. Whereas before it was like anyone that didn't play well on a Saturday, I'm getting another right winger in next week.
He's done all right for himself though, to be fair, as a manager. Like I remember, like it was Crawley, when he did really well with. But like some of the jobs he's got since, like Rotherham, Leeds, Mansfield, like he did done all right for himself. I remember my sister's ex-fella used to play for Rotherham, and he said he was like, so I don't think the training facilities were great at Rotherham anyway. And like you just see him like having a piss on the side of the pitch and stuff like that, because he was like that sort of bloke. Like.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he was the most gracious human being.
Yeah.
Look at Rhys with his media training.
Yeah.
But no, he is kind of what he is. I remember it's like in football, it's one of those professions where if you spent a day in football and spent a day in the office, you'd never be able to repeat what you actually heard or saw in football.
Yeah.
But you can have. I remember I had a conversation with him, and he was stood there like butt naked talking to me about football and about my role in the team, and sort of grilling me. And I just remember thinking, I honestly don't know what's happening in my life right now.
And I do my appraisals exactly the same.
Now we're saying we spoke about it a lot. The Under the Cosh podcast with Paddy Kenny. Right at the start, he's talking about Neil Warnock, and he's going mad at him, having a team talk with him after a game, and he's like strips off naked in the shower, like he's cocking his leg up, like talcing in or creaming like below his legs, just having a moan at him. I was just like, out of everyone, I think Steve Evans and Neil Warnock are the two people in the world of football I would not want to see starkers, to be honest.
I got some balls on them, well, clearly. But like, you got to be confident in yourself to do that, especially in front of athletes. You know what I mean? I might do that in Slimming World, but I don't think I'll do that in front of the starting 11. Fucking hell.
Slimming World.
I mean, you remember that bollocking though, didn't you?
Oh, 100%. I remember the time, because the fitness coach always used to try and get him to lose weight. And I remember the time we had a training session, and he started walking around the training pitch. So, as exercise, so basically what you'd hear, like, if a goal went in, you'd hear him at, like, here. And then
the next
he'd be like,
the
I thought he stood over there. The next time you heard him was over there. But yeah, he actually started walking around the training pitch, but he gave it up after a week.
I think he seemed pretty, like, I remember when Rotherham got promoted, he ran down the touchline, he did like a Mourinho-esque run down the touchline.
Yeah.
What was it? It was a sombrero as well, he turned it to like a news conference with a sombrero on as well.
Honestly, every single day there's something. Definitely a colourful character.
Love that.
That's not the worst thing in the world to have, though, right? I mean, obviously, like, it just... I mean, I would quite like that. I mean, if my manager was like that, instead of just my manager sitting there typing away, if he, ran down the fucking office and did a knee slide, I'd love it.
Yeah, I signed for him again, and like I say,
there you go.
Again, I got the text. Honestly, you must be the only person to ever sign for him twice. Like, what are you doing? Like, do you just like punishment? Like, what's wrong with you? But yeah, no, like I say, he is sort of who he is, and there's nothing that you can sort of do to change it. I remember after the first spell, me sort of having to go down to meet his family just to prove that we actually liked each other enough for me to get a contract offer, because obviously at the first time no one really likes getting shouted at every day, and obviously not going to have the best relationship with the manager doing that. But like I say, I signed for him again, and he played me in League One at Peterborough, so I can't really complain.
I know he's
awesome.
Yeah, we know we've spoke a little bit about obviously some low points, obviously mentally and stuff like that. But obviously as footballers, like, have you ever had to speak out? Do you think, like, during your career or even when you were younger, like, if you've struggled that much, or like you said, like, as you've matured, as you've grown up, you've sort of learned to ignore people talking online and stuff like that. Have you ever been in that sort of dark situation?
Yeah, I remember sort of my first season at Peterborough where like I started off like ridiculously well. I think we won our first 7 games, and like obviously in hindsight I do say this is a little bit of a mistake, but I was travelling in from North London to Peterborough, and it's like an hour and a half every day there and back. So when it got to sort of around November, December, I wouldn't say it was physical fatigue, but like mental fatigue hit, and my performances dipped, and I used to get it. The fans used to sort of abuse me, and it got to a stage where I was like, okay, cool. Look, I remember there was once where I think I made a mistake. We'd lost the game, and I was on the subs bench for the next game. And when the announcer announces the players on the subs bench, the Peterborough fans booed me.
Oh, my days.
And then I was like, okay, cool, right.
This is where we're at. Yeah.
I'm gonna try everything that I can to sort of technically and physically play well. Like mentally, I'm gonna need to like try and see what I can do to sort of help myself. And I think I saw like a psychologist, and I saw like a hypnotist as well. And it's just one of those cases where in the second half of that season, I was like, look, I need to try and do everything that I can to regain my best form, so I can basically stick a virtual thumbs up to these guys and show them like I am actually a good player, kind of thing. But yeah, it's funny because I sort of played really well, came back into the team, did really well, played really well against Sunderland on Good Friday. On Easter Monday we had Walsall away, and we missed out on the playoffs on 2 points, and Walsall were in the relegation zone, and I probably had the worst game of my career. Walsall away, I cost the team 3 goals, we lost 3-0 and missed out on the playoffs. And that's where, as soon as I got on the bus, it was like, and football's a little bit cold because obviously the manager or the players know who's kind of made a mistake and who's not playing well, and it's kind of like no one really comes up to you and is like, hard luck, mate, because like realistically, as bad as it is, it's your career. So if someone's cost you 2 points, you're not getting promoted, you're not getting X grand a week, you're not. It takes a very strong person to be like, oh, don't worry about it, mate, we'll go again, kind of thing. And at that point, I was like, no, I don't think anyone wants to talk to me. The fans are tweeting me saying, I've bought you a one-way ticket back to Manchester. I never want to see you again. You're the worst player to ever play for Peterborough, blah, 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 blah. And that summer, I sort of did a lot of thinking. And it was like, okay, cool. I'm moving to Peterborough. I'm not having any excuses. I'm going to do my yoga. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to try and help myself mentally. I'm going to speak to my family, etc. But there's no way that I'm leaving Peterborough and these people are going to say like I was this bad, because I want to give a true reflection of who I am and who I believe I am as a player.
I can't believe Kev tweeted you that.
Do you think that helped though, Rhys? Like, I assume that was 2019, was it, Easter?
Yeah.
So like for the 2019-2020 season, do you think that helped you? I know you had problems off the field, but do you think in yourself you felt a lot better because you weren't having to do the travelling side of things and stuff?
100%, yeah. I got a place literally not the nicest places in Peterborough, but it was 10 minutes away from the training ground. And that extra time where you're preparing and you're not spending, because realistically, if you have to be in for 5:30, depending on traffic, I'd have to leave London at like 2. Whereas if I had to be in at 5:30 at Peterborough, I could leave my flat at like 5 and still be there in plenty of time. So those 3 hours, if you sort of think about those times that you could be sleeping, could have your legs up, you could be doing yoga, it's a lot. And like mentally as well, it's a lot. Just being, I even sort of like, I was living with my girlfriend, it's like, no, I'm going to move out, I'm going to live with myself, and I'm going to come home and I just want to concentrate on my football. And whether I play or not, the times that I do get to play, I want to show exactly who I am. And even though obviously I only played like 18 games, every time I played, I kind of showed who I am. And the thing that I sort of take from that spell is at the end of it, all the fans were like, oh no, this guy, he should have played more, he was incredible in the second season, like da-da-da. And I'm thinking, nah, that's who I was the whole time. I just, that's what you said, just happened.
The chairman was going to let you go for nothing, and then he realised he could make some money out of it.
Exactly.
So that's the flip, isn't it? It's like, you know, you can tell the difference. You recognised it, done something about it. Ultimately, you're kind of a bit of a crude way to put it, but you was worth nothing, and then all of a sudden you was worth something. You're the same person,
yeah, exactly.
But you'd recognised what to do,
to
make the change. Yeah, love it.
Now, what I like about that though, Rhys, is that like there would be players. I'm not saying there's loads, but there would be players there that said, you know, they're out of the team. They live in London, where you'd probably say like home life was comfortable, and they'd think, fuck it, I'm just gonna stay here and like still commute. And then if you don't play me, you don't play me. I'm still picking up my wage packet. But you thought, right, I've got to do something to improve this. You went out your way to move to Peterborough. You went out the way to improve yourself, like you say, meditate, yoga, whatever. And I know things didn't go probably how you wanted it to in the end at Peterborough, but you still improved your career for it. You know, you could have had a year or two, like a whole season there, just sat on the bench or sat in the reserves or whatever, not playing, but you sort of went out your way to try and improve things as well. But like I say, there would be players out there that probably wouldn't do that as well. So
yeah, I think it just stems from like what I want. It's like, look, I want to play in the Championship. If I can't play in Peterborough in League One, it's like I need to come back next season and I need to make sure that I'm absolutely flying wherever I may be. If that's at Peterborough, if they give me a chance, I'm taking it, and I'm staying in the team.
Yeah.
So then, what I want is not compromised, because it's like, realistically, you know, you go back to being headstrong. It's like there's no chance I'm gonna let these people ruin what I want for my career. So it's like I'm doing everything possible to stop it.
Yeah. Fair play, man. I like it.
Fair play, man. Yeah, it takes a lot to do that. It really does.
We'll finish with some quick fire questions as well, Rhys. We'd like to find out a little bit more about our guests' interests and stuff like that. Books? Do you read much books? Are you a big book reader?
Yeah, I would say I was a massive Harry Potter fan when I was growing up. But I do read like a lot of books just on like well-being and stuff like that.
Yeah. Is there any that you'd recommend to anyone? Are you reading any at the moment, or something you finished recently?
It might be a bit cheesy, but The Secret. Obviously that's good. 7 Habits of Successful People. And to be honest, like sometimes I just like to sort of just switch off and just read just some kind of like fantasy thing and just completely escape from the reality. So yeah, for me those kind of things work as well.
That's Wolves Champions League highlights, isn't it? That's fantasy.
Yeah. What about TV shows, films? Are you a big TV series watcher? Netflix?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd say I watch a lot of TV, but obviously we've just been through lockdown where I found myself going to bed at 6 a.m. because I wanted to watch the next episode of Narcos. But
yes, Narcos. Do you enjoy that? That's a great
series. I started it in February and I finished the whole thing before March. So I'm one of those people that I want the next episode and I want the next episode. So yeah, I think most things that I start, I literally want to finish straight away.
Was it? I think series 3 of that is, I can't. There was one series, I don't know if it's series 2 or 3, which is mad. Like this, every episode on there, like there was some that like made my heart sink. Some of them like, what the fuck has just happened, man? That is ridiculous. So yeah, a really good series. Is there any others? Like if someone said, what's your go-to series? Like, is there any others that really stand out for you?
I'd say I watched Scandal. I don't know if that's for everyone.
Scandal. Not heard of that one, no.
Yeah, it's about just like about someone that sort of is like a fixer, which is kind of along the same lines as Ray Donovan, which is very like I love Ray Donovan.
Love Ray Donovan.
Yeah.
That's a great series.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and to be fair, a bit geeky again. But when growing up, I used to like Supernatural, and that's still going now. So I think, in terms of like the series that I've watched the most, I think I've watched 16 years of Supernatural.
Wow.
So
that's dedication to the cause. That.
Have you watched any of those sort of football documentaries that have dropped over the last couple
of
years?
I love them. Yeah, I love them because it gives sort of people that don't sort of necessarily know what football is about just a little bit of an insight. I remember there's a lot of fallout from like the Danny Rose conversation with Jose Mourinho, and it's one of them where it's like, hey, that happens 10 times a day in every football club because people are just basically trying to fight for their job. But yeah, like I think those kind of things are like so important so people can actually get an understanding, because I don't feel like, and because of you sort of in football, you can't go out and say, well, the reason I did this is because they did that. It's like, I'd love to be able to sit here and tell you all the things that went and happened to me at different clubs and but you can't.
You never play football again.
But you can't, yeah.
That's what the book's for, right?
Yeah, that's what the book's for.
You'll have to, if you ever get a spare hour, put Barry Fry's documentary on YouTube as well. That is funny, man. Like, that's when he used to manage Peterborough. Was it Peterborough, I think? Yeah, he managed them as well.
Yeah, he managed Peterborough.
You might have even seen a clip online of his negotiations as well. Yeah, he signed this bloke.
He's ridiculous.
It was brilliant, mate.
He's ridiculous.
Survival bonus. The agent's trying to get a survival bonus. He goes, survival bonus? I fucking love that. And he's like, just like everything the agent wants, Barry Fry offers half of it. And he's got what is it, Joe? What's the little hammock called?
So to the
gavel.
Yeah. That's it. But like it's so like I don't know if you've seen any of the Warnock one. The Barry Fry one's a bit like the Warnock one, but it's like so dramatised. Like the stuff when he like throws his hat off, he's running up and down the touchline. The scenes where he's like waking up in the middle of the night with his wife next to him, like because he's thinking about the next game. It's like
ridiculous.
The weirdest
What
documentary ever. But yeah, it's good. It's good though. And then podcasts. Do you ever listen to any podcasts, or is that not your sort of thing?
Yeah, I've listened to a lot. Just driving back and forth through lockdown. Yeah. But I wouldn't say I've just started to get into them. But yeah, it's just the same as the books, really. Just sort of like pointers on success and life and stuff like that.
Is there any in particular that stand out that you think, oh, that was a really good one?
Without boring you, like the vegan ones. So I listened to a lot of vegan ones before I made the decision. But yeah, everyone's
2018 dude likes this.
Yeah.
Nah, that's good, man. That's good.
Forest Green, if you're watching.
But Rhys, really appreciate that,
Big
man.
up Stokesy.
Yeah, you've obviously told us a lot there. You've probably given us a lot of information that you probably wouldn't tell some people. So I really appreciate that, man. And obviously, best of luck for the rest of the season with Carlisle. Obviously, I'm sure you're going to carry on streaming and stuff when you can.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, the first sort of 2 weeks, everyone's like, "You're gonna stream," and I'm like, honestly, I can't even open my eyes right now. But
give me a chance. Yeah, but yeah, looking forward to seeing you on Twitch again, man. I really appreciate you jumping on. The links to each of us, including Rhys, are going to be in the description down below as well. Be sure to hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you are struggling as well mentally, the links to all the professionals are in the description down below. Or if you want to reach out to us privately, our email is info@westreamfm.com. But until next time, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. And say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
See you later.
See you later, guys.